we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion.
Combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado. This is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
Episode 250 here of Discussion Combustion. We got Jules and Pearls back in the studio for a second appearance. Really excited to have you back. Kev, I like your sweater. It's kind of matching the polarized logo change.
Yeah, it kind of worked out that way. We got a new logo, as you can see here on the Discussion Combustion Production YouTube channel. That's right. We changed it from Discussion Combustion Podcast and Happy Friday America to Discussion Combustion Productions because there's a lot of great things going on. We got Raw Talk coming out here. Mm-hmm. Great things happening. 250 and beyond, guys. We're really excited about it. Keeping it the same awesome discussions, same awesome people. We're going to keep it moving.
Yes, we're going to keep it moving, and we're so excited to have Jules back in here. Your Instagram kind of blew up after the last time you were on, actually.
It did, yeah. I came on February 22nd, and it was that night that my first reel hit 1 million plays.
Wow.
And then I basically went from, at the beginning of last year, 600 followers on Instagram to over 75,000 now. And it's just been a wild year. So also, thank you for having me back because I did go back and look at like my first podcast with you guys.
Okay.
And I feel so bad because I feel like I smiled maybe like twice during that entire episode. And I was just, my personality was at like a 4 out of 10. And I was just going through some stuff. So
Sure.
I appreciate you asking me back. And sorry for kind of being a little bit of an Eeyore the first time.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I don't remember Eeyore vibes. I remember learning a lot about rocks and other things.
I feel like I just smile more. And when I looked back, I was like, oh, she needs to like eat a cookie.
So here's the good thing about that is that you took some time for self-reflection. And everybody's our own worst critic. And what better place to criticize ourselves than like a live action conversation?
Yeah.
And you stuck to it. You stayed creating and stayed active. I'm sure you've helped people with your content. And that's why we had to get you back, was for the momentum. And we thought you had great energy the first time.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first step was great.
You can't be hard on yourself for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the folks that listen,
I'll take your word for it.
They obviously didn't see that. Mm-hmm. So that's a reminder to the listeners. We appreciate your support on Spotify and all those great things. But click that watch here link so you can see all the fun we're having here in the studio, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a little different on the video presence.
It's different. It's different. But I like that experience, for people to be able to see what's going on. Some people don't have time for that. They just want to drive and listen. I get that. But it's kind of fun to watch it.
I will say I did cook a little bit more. As we said in the last podcast, I hate cooking. I do love to bake. But while I cook, I do like to throw on a podcast on the background. And if it's just sound, it's not as fun.
Okay.
So I do like the visual aspect.
You prefer the visual, yeah.
It's been helpful for my cooking journey.
Are you watching like cooking podcasts?
No.
Okay.
Hard no on that one.
Are there cooking
watched
podcasts?
There has to be.
I watched like Netflix documentary like Feeding Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that one's kind of fun, but it can only inspire you so much. And then I look in my kitchen and I'm like, I don't have any of the ingredients for this, so throw in the towel, order a pizza.
I mean, that's always a good backup option for sure. I love it. I like just experimenting with it. I think we touched on it a little bit last time you were on, but the cooking with Kev, that's come a long way, of course. Art, you're always doing a great job filming that.
Yeah, fill me in on that. Have you gotten your apron that says Cooking with Kev yet?
No, well, I don't have the Cooking with Kev apron, but I do have one that says Kevin's Backyard Barbecue, Eaters Beware. My parents got me that for my birthday last year, so thanks, Mom and Dad, for that. But yeah, we have fun with it, just making some fun finger foods and kind of man cave foods, if you will. Nothing too crazy. But when I'm doing the social media scroll, as we were talking about before we went on mic, that's the stuff I get dialed into, or which will grab my attention is these cooking videos. Like, hey guys, we're making this today. It's 5-6 minute video, and the next thing you know, I'm like, okay, an hour's gone by, and I'm looking at all these recipes. Yeah, that's how I get most of my ideas.
He likes to make these chicken cordon bleus with like
that turned out good.
Like 4 cheese sauce and. You're getting pretty efficient. Is it it's efficient in the kitchen?
Yeah, I mean, just
he's able to like go in there and like he puts on his like black gloves and stuff, and like he has like the apron, the towel over the shoulder that he's rocking.
You got to go all in.
Yeah, he gets serious. He gets dialed in.
It's fun. I have fun with it, and I'm getting. I don't know. You probably don't know this, but I'm getting ready to give up alcohol in June.
Okay.
For a year, so I'm going to need to put that energy somewhere else. And I think cooking is going to be the spot for that.
I'm excited for that.
Amongst other things. I mean, I don't want to turn into a fat ass, substituting alcohol for eating all the time. But like that energy has to go somewhere. So that's kind of what I'm looking at doing.
What is inspiring you to do that?
To quit alcohol? Mm-hmm. So I made a promise to myself when I was 28 years old, so that's going to be 7 years ago in June, that when I turned 35, I needed to do some sobriety. Alcoholism, long line of it in my family. And it's just time. It's time to give it pump the brakes. I watched Art do it. He's done tremendous. Gave up booze for a while. And it's not one of those things where I want to say I'm quitting drinking forever. Mm-hmm. But I want a year of sobriety to hit the reset button. When you drink as much beer as I do, it's time. Mm-hmm. So it's a commitment I made 7 years ago, and I want to stick to that. I'm very good at meeting deadlines. And so that's kind of what motivated that.
I think that's great. I mean, I think any sort of goal to kind of help you do better is a good goal to have, and the fact that you actively want to, and it's been something in the back of your mind for a while, I think you can find a lot of success when you do that. So
yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah,
I'm excited for you, man.
It's gonna be a journey.
So the last 8 months, I didn't drink for 6 of those, and there was 2 months in between where I was drinking, right? So I did 2 months off, drank for 2 months, did 4 months off, and when I did the 4-month thing, it really changed my mentality a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting how much fun you can have without alcohol.
Right.
It can be a major crutch. Look, I was still smoking weed and stuff, so I can't claim that I was sober. People say it's Cali sober. I'm like, no, that's Colorado sober.
Yeah.
To smoke weed and not drink.
Yeah, they call it
California sober.
Yeah, why do they call it California sober? That seems like much more of a Colorado state.
But maybe Cali sober comes off the tongue better than Colorado sober.
That's like we were talking about the
CO
drywall.
sober, I guess, kind of sounds all right.
Kosob.
Kosob.
Hashtag Kosob.
Okay.
I don't know. But California sober, I mean, there's been songs written about it. I think Willie Nelson did one with Billy Strings. And yeah, I think because California had medical use before Colorado did. Mm. Colorado went rec first, but I think that's where that term comes from. But the fact remains, yeah, you're still burning, but you're not doing alcohol.
Well, yeah, and you can have a lot of fun, not drinking. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I really learned. And, you can cheers any liquid in a cup. It doesn't have to be alcohol.
Of course.
And if you feel like you might be kind of the bored person at the party or, oh, I'm not the life of this party, everyone's having so much fun around me, completely sober, all you have to do is just throw one hand up, and then kind of
start grooving,
and then just kind of all you have to
Okay.
do is just barely move your hips, throw one hand up, and then everyone thinks you're having the best time.
Yeah.
And they're all like, oh, okay, and then you start bringing the hype.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm gonna support you on that journey.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
How is your relationship with alcohol, if you don't mind me asking? Do you have a glass of wine every once in a while, or how does Jules and Pearls do it?
She doesn't really drink alcohol.
Okay.
Honestly, I think I tend to have maybe a drink or two if I'm celebrating a fancy event and I get together and I'm with my friends or family, and it's once every 6 months or so, mm-hmm. or on vacation. And I used to say I usually only like to drink when I'm celebrating or on vacation, but I also haven't had a proper vacation since 2018. Okay. So I don't know if that one's still true. I feel like I could go anywhere and enjoy it, just enjoy it and be. But yeah, I'm not really a big drinker. I think a lot of change over the past couple years, and just really trying to take on my business and my career, mm-hmm. and just have control.
So you've noticed if you did have some beverages that your performance lacks the next day, or what were the things that were obviously different for you, if you were to?
I usually, if I was at dinner, I know that one drink isn't going to really do anything. Mm-hmm. So then I know that I'd have to drink 2 drinks, and one that's expensive. Mm-hmm. And then I'm I'm going to be full, and then I don't want to overeat or feel gross. And then if I start drinking, what's my next day? Honestly, actually,
okay.
Now that we talk about it, the pandemic and then starting to be a nanny, mm-hmm. working with kids, I had to wake up every day at 6 a.m. And I was there's no way I'm going to wake up with a hangover, and then be present and be alert and alive and upbeat with these kids all the time. It would just not happen. So that was another huge deterrent the night before, where I'm if I know that I have to wake up early, I'm going to work out, and then I'm going to go to work, and I'm around kids, I just can't do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I do enjoy it every once in a while. I love a good margarita.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's social drinking.
Yeah.
Right. When the time calls for maybe a glass of champagne on New Year's and whatever the case may be. And, the alcohol removed category is becoming pretty big too. So a lot of like alcohol-free spirits and alcohol removed Prosecco's and things like that. Non-alcoholic beer has been on the market for a long time, and a lot of people have been like, well, what's the point of that? It's like drinking decaf coffee or whatever, which I would relate that to. But it gives folks that same, like, there's sober bars here in Denver where the community can go out and still socialize and feel like they're having a beverage in that environment, which I support. I don't know if I'll go do that, but I'm glad that they offer those options.
I think a sober bar sounds fun. Like you go in there,
play pool.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the same environment.
You just do all the normal things that you normally do. I was noticing, because I feel like when I stopped drinking for a little bit, I started like understanding a little bit more of how my thoughts worked and like this and that. So I have been drinking since the beginning of February, like kind of off and on. And I've noticed like I feel more moody. Like my patience is not as good as it was for that period of time when I was off. And then also, like, it's easier to get into the habit of continuing to do it, right? Because you're like, oh, those couple glasses of wine, like, that felt good. I could do that again tomorrow. And then it's easy to start, like, slipping back into that, like, almost nightly pattern of enjoying a glass of wine, which there's nothing super wrong about that. It's just maybe not for me right now. But it's interesting, that whole thing. And how people interact with it, how it like changes the group, or I don't know.
Yeah, and of course here in Colorado,
we're all getting older too. Like we're not in our party years anymore.
No, it takes a lot longer to recover. I was just having this conversation with some coworkers earlier today, and it's like, it gets a little tougher as you get older. But then here in Colorado, marijuana is also very, I wouldn't say allowed. It's a part of the social culture, very much so. And the argument's always made, which I agree with, it is better for you than alcohol, no question about it. However, I've said this a few times. It's not a substitute, though. I don't feel like you should lean on one thing just as hard as you did the other, right? Because, a lot of my buddies, God bless them, they've been sober for 3-4 years, Cali sober, but now they use marijuana morning till night. So it's like, that, on paper probably is better for your body, right? But you're still being completely chemical dependent on something else. And so I think that's also a concern. I think anything in moderation at that point is probably, fair.
Yeah. I mean, you had mentioned that you think cooking is going to take over, like you're going to have it replaced with cooking and trying these new recipes and stuff, which I think is great, because often when we get rid of one of those habits, like we fall back on something else. So if you're planning that already, that's going to work in your favor, hopefully. Art, for you, when you gave up alcohol, did you have a habit that you turned to, or did you notice, like, where did that energy go?
So with substance abuse, I've been on a long journey, which I'm very transparent about. The biggest thing for me to give up was opiates. And once I gave that up, it changed. That was where I call what you're talking about the void. Because just like if you give up alcohol, like I gave up opiates, I used to look forward to doing it. I would plan my week around it. I'd be spending money on it. Like there was a big mental gap once you remove that. And I call that the void. And a lot of good things went in there. But alcohol was one of the things that was negative that slipped into my void. So I didn't really have a problem with alcohol before, but then I was overusing that when I got off of opiates. And then once I, wanted to tackle that issue, it was more like, a weight journey where I wanted to be in a better shape because I got super heavy at the end of all that. So, I think it's just really cleaning and staying organized and being present and like, those are the things that kind of keep me satisfied, listening to music, keeping my apartment dialed. Like, Swift for the floor. Like, if you drop a piece of popcorn at my house and you don't eat the food off the floor, like, I'm a little insulted, okay? Because
it's that clean?
Because I'm cleaning it frequently. Yeah. And also I feel like people should test out their immune systems a little bit. Like, you can't be so...
Okay.
You can't be so,
I agree with that 100%.
Do you allow shoes in the house?
Absolutely, yes.
And do you want to eat the dropped popcorn off the floor?
It's not a want thing. It's more of like, we can trust
That's why I have a dog.
Do you believe the 5-second rule for food on the floor?
I mean, generally, yes, but also,
so what's the
you
difference?
Look at all the studies of, like, I take my dog out to the bathroom and I'm, like, walking outside, and then I'm like, how much dog pee am I walking in,
That's
and
true.
then that's when I'm
true.
like, I'm going to take off my shoes because I also roll around on the floor. So I will say my floors are very clean too. You could probably
Yes.
drop some food and eat it. It's fine. But my dog, I don't wash my dog's feet all the time. And,
Yeah.
like, who knows what he's stepping in. Like, I don't know.
That's true, but then you got, kids who are super young. They just put everything
in their mouth.
Yeah.
That's what builds the immune system. Or like when you're eating like cocktail nuts at a bar or like at a social event.
Yeah.
You have a lot of folks that don't use the, they don't wash their hands frequently, so to speak. And so, they're contaminating the Chex Mix or...
I haven't seen like a cocktail mix bowl at a bar in a long time.
Well, the COVID...
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
COVID
thing,
probably got rid of that.
that kind of screwed all that up. But even at like, just maybe a semi-large gathering of people.
Here's a better example. So
Sharing a
like
bag of chips.
like a popcorn maker at a tavern or something. Do they still do that? Like where you can go
think so.
get your like popcorn?
Yeah, I
like
mean,
they got free popcorn with the beer.
The only thing I haven't seen really come back is like salad bars and shit. The wing bars I've seen, like the old salad bars with the sneeze guard, I haven't really seen those come back.
But there's still I mean, you got Jason's Deli. They're still doing it.
Do they have it? I haven't been in Jason's.
Yeah, I think Jason's Deli is still doing it. And there's definitely like, Golden Corral, like the whole buffet thing. Like,
I know a lot of those closed down around here though.
yeah.
I do like the Golden Corral though.
Whole Foods has their salad bar still open.
Oh, that's true.
Do they?
That is true.
Well, they reopened it, right? Because it was shut
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, it was
Because
closed
like
for a
King
while.
Supers, they had the mega salad bar, which was one of my favorites. I haven't seen that. I don't know if yours has it in Glendale. It might.
I think they have like an olive bar where you can like
Oh,
go
yeah.
get the
Right
olives
around the
and like the
cheese.
cheese and all
Those
that
olives
kind
are
of
pretty good.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You guys are making me so hungry.
We talk a lot of food on
Yeah.
here and culinary and stuff. It's fun.
I mean, like I don't know what my favorite thing to eat. So I haven't said this on air yet, but I've been dating a wonderful woman from Venezuela.
You have said it on air.
I have?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm gonna say it again then. And
No, you're dropping this on the 250
250.
right
On
now.
250.
We're getting an
250.
inside scoop
But all I'm saying
on Art's love life.
Yeah,
okay,
all I'm saying
go.
is that Venezuelan cooking is delicious, and so I've been trying a bunch of new kind of Venezuelan foods,
She's
helping
an amazing
out.
cook.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and if your girl's cooking for you in the kitchen, jump in there and do the right thing as a man, and help her clean up that kitchen.
That's correct.
Get in there and do some dishes while she's cooking. Be a man about it.
Oh, I can't agree with that
Yeah,
more.
that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, she does cook some good stuff.
It is good.
And I mean, came over to my place. I had ceviche for the first time in my life.
Interesting. How'd you like it?
Oh, I thought it was tremendous. I
Okay.
mean, yeah, it was fantastic. Never had it before, and to
The
have
amount of limes though, and you
lot of
actually
limes.
you actually shafted my girl on that because
I'm sorry.
he
don't-
knows exactly where I'm going with this.
the chopper. I know.
Yeah, the chopper.
Uh-oh.
So she's over there.
I fucked up.
She's like chopping all this stuff up for like a good amount of time.
Well, I didn't know what it was.
And she's
is
like
the problem.
asking for me to help, and I'm like, yeah, baby, I'll chop that onion, like no
Yeah.
problem.
And then eventually I realized, I'm like, wait, I have a chopper.
Yeah, and then so I chopped the onion in the chopper, and I'm like done in 2 seconds. She's like looking back. She's like, you're already done? And I'm like, yeah, And she's like, what is that? What?
Yeah. We should have busted that tool out when we took inventory.
I actually need to buy one of those. Do you have a chopper? For
No,
like the
I
slap
don't
chop?
like cooking.
Yeah.
Also,
It
my
makes it
kitchen
easier,
is
though.
so small. My kitchen is probably the size of this couch.
Okay.
That's it?
Like there's no space.
I mean, my kitchen's pretty small, as Art can attest to. It's like a shotgun galley kitchen.
Yeah.
I don't even have like a drawer to put my silverware. My silverware
not good.
is
You like a
in
studio?
a cupboard.
Okay.
No, it's a 1-bedroom. I honestly have plenty of space. It's wonderful, but the kitchen is the smallest part. And then when I moved in, I was like, well, I don't like to cook anyway, so it's fine.
So what is like your go-to? Because all right, so you're diligent, okay? She's waking up early, hitting fighting classes, doing different workouts. So you're burning a lot of calories. You're doing the floor work. So you're constantly moving. Like when you start to get hungry, like what are you craving to eat? Is it the carbs?
I love carbs.
Sugar,
Love sugar.
ice cream.
I don't buy a lot of ice cream often. I think it's because I would just like eat the whole thing.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
I love a good peanut butter Nutella toast in the morning.
Okay.
I love a good. I don't get cereal, but apparently this is weird. My friend says it's weird, but I'll do like my milk and then granola, which I think is fine.
Granola's good.
Oh, so you put it's like a cereal, but with granola instead.
Yeah.
Okay.
With milk. Cow's milk.
No, I do cashew milk.
Cashew milk.
Cow's milk, yeah. I guess you do have to specify.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of milk.
Milks.
And, as I like to quote Sam Elliott, I know I've said this a few times.
What, how do you milk a nut?
Yeah, where's the tit on a nut?
Yeah.
It's nut juice.
I mean, yeah, that's why a lot of people get upset and say that they shouldn't call it milk at all because you can't milk it. But they call it like almond drink, and that just does not sound.
Almond drink?
Almond drink.
Yeah, I mean, where's the marketing going to go for that?
Juice.
Like, get your almond drink. No.
Do you drink cow's milk?
No, I never did though. Even as a kid, like I couldn't drink it straight.
Okay.
Chocolate
It's a
milk?
little weird. I can do chocolate milk.
Chocolate cow's milk.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gauging
Like I'll go like hot chocolate. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's
Okay.
Yeah, that's the yummy.
I'm really good at making hot
Creamy.
chocolate.
Okay.
See, desserts. We're back to desserts.
The
You guys
sweets.
ask me when I'm
is
cooking.
That's what you're craving then when you like, because for me, because I'll do intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
And like I always want a pasta so bad. It could be
Yeah.
it could be any type of tortellini. It could be gnocchi. It could be any type of pasta.
Yum yum.
I want the pasta bad.
Yeah.
So like, what is it? Is it the sugar for you? Are you craving that like Nutella, peanut butter?
The sweets.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the morning, I love a good Nutella sweet deliciousness. And then, honestly, like sweet green, their salads are thebomb.com. Or I'll just do like chicken and a bunch of vegetables and sweet potato fries. Oh, I love good sweet potato flex. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of switched up. But I'm not like turned off by many foods.
So you're pretty versatile on what you eat. You're not like, I don't eat meat or fish or poultry. You'll
Yeah, I
you'll
don't
touch a
leave
little bit of
anything
everything. That's good. I think that's how it should be. I mean, some folks obviously have food allergies. Like I have a shellfish allergy, so I have to stay away from crab and lobster and shrimp as much as I don't want to. Growing up in New England, it's probably best.
Ooh, that's
It's probably best. But we've had a lot of folks on here that support like vegan diets and stuff like that, and I think that's fine. Because some people meat doesn't treat them well. But I've tried. I just had this conversation with your brother the other day. When you look at some of these alternatives to like the vegan community, they have these fake chicken nuggets, right? You read the ingredients on it, you're like, what the hell is this? You can't pronounce half of the stuff, right? So it's like, how is that?
Yeah, how's that any better for you?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
And maybe we don't know that it's worse for us because it hasn't been around that long for us to even know the long-term effects. It's just like, life addicted to your cell phone or something like that. Like, do we really know the long-term effects of that? Like,
we're still learning.
Like, because when I was a kid, like, we didn't even have internet on our phones.
Right.
So
yeah,
at that, like, it hasn't even been
caller
around.
ID, Art.
Yeah, caller ID came out.
I remember when we first got caller
we
ID.
were like kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a big deal, and it ran through a second party. Like it would come through the phone and then another device, and you'd have to look at it. And it would take like 3 rings. It's like, wait, we got to see who it is.
Yeah, and you're not that far off from us, Jules.
No,
and,
I remember.
Yeah. So I think it was
know.
like 85 to 95 was like this group of people that were born with coming out of the industrial age and then to where tech is fully taken over. It was like 85 to 95 or something like that.
I would agree with that, somewhere in there. We've seen a lot of innovation and advancements, which is good, right? There's good and bad to everything, of course, but even on the culinary side, like we talk about with air fryers and Instant Pots.
Ooh, the air fryers are good.
Oh, have you ever messed around with any of those air fryers or anything?
I fucking love my air fryer. But then I saw this meme on Instagram, and it was like 90s kids or like millennials when they realize that their easy bake oven is just their air fryer now. And I was like, oh, fuck. That's me. I let a light bulb cook my cakes when I was 5, and now I just do the same thing. So.
I do not have an air fryer, but
you also don't have TikTok.
I don't have TikTok. That's a good segue.
We're on different pages, different book.
Yeah, that's true. The air fryer and the TikTok I guess go hand in hand. I'm not quite there.
I mean,
yet.
I don't really use TikTok though either.
That's fair.
So.
Yeah. So what are you talking about?
Yeah. What is that?
I post it and then I close it because I know I can't
Post
scroll.
and close?
Yep,
Yeah.
post and close. My mom will send me TikToks. I'm like, Mom, don't do that, please. I'm not gonna watch it.
Post and close. You're like, oop, don't want to see it now.
Yeah,
That's
I
fair.
had one viral on there, and I was like, cool.
What is considered a viral?
Yeah. What's that threshold?
Like, what is it? 10,000?
It got 1 million views in like 3 days, I think.
Okay.
And so I think it was like some consider viral if it's over 1 million in
Okay.
24 hours.
Okay.
I'm not that cool. So 3 days and 1 million, I'm like, sure, I'm going to count that. And then none of the other ones have it that high, so.
1 million in 3 days. That's still pretty. I mean, that's not like, oh, that's nothing.
No, it was freaking fantastic for those 3 days.
Yeah.
And what do you think did it? Was it the content? Was it the hashtags? Was it the algorithm? I still don't understand TikTok.
I think a little bit of everything, but honestly, the song that I used, everyone loved the song, and then just the hook for the first 3 seconds. People see the floor work dance and stuff, and they're like, oh, I can do that. And that's exactly what I thought when I found those. And so people watch it, they try it, and they're like, just kidding. So I think it was just kind of like a nice mix of music, hook, and then people thinking that they can also recreate it and then trying it and then commenting. So then it continues to
Then it just grows
ride
from there.
the algorithm train.
Well, and because I can speak from as a viewer, if you haven't seen Jules' stuff, we'll include that down in the show notes below, is that the videos that you do they're kind of direct to size to the point. They look great. They sound good. You'll show like what you're trying to do and then you doing it, which I like, because it's like you're getting a side-by-side comparison. And I'm like I said before when I'm like, there's no way I can fucking do that.
Yeah.
So I'll sit here and watch Jules do it, and you make it look easy, which I think the viewers go, oh yeah, I can do that, right? And that's the idea is capturing the viewership, of course, and creating that great content with great sound, great looks, whatever. The quality of the content, I think, is what matters.
Yes, and we had a great speaker on recently, John Bates. And what he does is helps major companies, their vice presidents and like whoever, with speech and how to be a great speaker. And he helps out with like NASA and all these huge companies, right? So epic guy. And one piece of advice that he told me, or Kevin and I on that episode, that really
last week,
is gonna keep ringing in my head, is that people don't relate to your message, they relate to your messes. And that's what I feel is like one great thing about what you're doing, is that you are also sharing the learning process of actually learning this floor work and messing up a little bit along the way. And so it's the messes that people relate to the most, opposed to the message. And I thought that was really cool, kind of a different way of looking at it. So you're kind of doing that as well.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with you completely, because if you look at my very first viral, the one that we talked about the last time I was on the podcast, it was me seeing a yoga girl do some sort of backward roll to a headstand thing. And I'm like, I work out. I do gymnastics. Like, I can do that. And I tried it and, like, humbled, It's like I fall over 15 times. I can't get it. It's a lot harder than I actually thought it was, but it's still fun to try. And so then I posted that, and that's kind of what people enjoy seeing, and that's like what I enjoy seeing too. It's like you find somebody on the internet who's like inspired by someone else, and they go out and try and learn a new skill. And I feel like this last year I've just been learning a lot of new skills, so it's kind of fun to share that, and then just continue to find other people doing the same thing in a way, and it's just like making social media a nicer place to be.
I like that, because I mean we talk a lot about where social media is at, what it's done, and kind of the negative impact. So it's always kind of fun to dissect what that looks like. And so when it comes to your creative process, like finding, whatever floor work you're gonna do, how you put that video together, like what's the timeline on that? How much thought goes into it? How much editing goes into it? How many attempts does it usually take on average? Just generally speaking, like it's Monday morning, you're like, okay, I'm planning out what videos I'm gonna drop this week. What does that process look like?
For the floor work dance, I would say now I've been doing it consistently since July, so it's been like 9 months or so. And now I've actually gotten better to where it takes me maybe an hour to an hour and a half to learn like a longer combination, and then filming it is like another thing. So maybe filming will take 30 minutes, editing will take about an hour, hour and a half, depending, and then all of it all day, maybe like 4 hours if I were to plan it out. And I usually like to be very intentional about how I do use my social media, since it is a part of my job, and I know like the doom scroll is bound to happen. So I like to go in, I will search my tags or look up the people that I'm inspired by. I'll save maybe 2 or 3 posts, and then I close it and work on my own stuff, just to make sure that I'm not getting lost in social media. And I try to stick to that, which works out pretty well. And that's like for the floor work stuff. If I find other like random acrobatic, like weird gym fitness challenges, that can take anywhere from 5 minutes to all day, depending on how hard it is and whether or not I can actually achieve the skill. So yeah, I try and have fun with it though. So
That's good.
That's good.
You're enjoying your time and what you're doing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the big thing. But I think it's also important because people just see the final product, right? They just see this viral video that's on Jules and Pearl's social media going, wow, that's easy, right? But they don't see what went into it, the planning, preparation, the filming, the editing, all that kind of stuff. So I always like to kind of dive into the nuts and bolts of how all that comes together.
Yeah, because everyone thinks that they could go and do it, but why aren't you doing it then?
Right, right.
You know?
We've
It's like
heard
one
a lot
of
of
those
that.
things.
We've heard a lot of that in this business.
Yes.
Oh, you guys should do it this
Yeah.
way. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
What are you doing?
This is America, so good thing
Go
about
start
that
your own.
is you can go
Yeah.
start your own stuff. It's fun to talk about, but it's good to have that active challenge, you know? So it sounds like you're firing on a lot of cylinders here. You know, you're being independent, you're being an entrepreneur, you're staying active. When you hit a lull, right? Because we can't always maintain like the high octave. Like we have to plateau at some point and go back down for a little bit and then come back up. That's just how the cycles go. So
It's like a stock chart.
yeah. So how do you relax or like come down off of that, or like what are your signs that it's like I need to slow down a little bit, have some more me time, or refocus my energy?
Oh, that's a great question. As far as knowing when to slow down, take time, and restore my energy, I would say in this last year I've been very bad at doing that, and the only way that I've been able to actually take time to chill is that I would just get sick like every 2 months. And I would try and, I was putting out content, making reels and doing these dances, maybe 5 to 7 reels per week. And I was also in the middle of building a course because people were asking me, like, how do you do this dance? How do you learn this? And I looked it up and I couldn't really find anything. So I asked if they would be interested if I created a course. So I was putting this all together and I knew that I just had to like keep grinding, right? Like it's the hustle, it's the grind, it's starting your own business, like no days off. But I just got like so sick in October to the point where I needed to just like sit and do nothing and feel better, but also understand that I'm still going to be able to finish my product. The world continues turning. Like the sun is still going to rise. Like I can take a moment and just be a human and not be hustling all the time, and then pick it up when I need to pick it up and know that I'm still going to deliver like a quality product. And if it's a different timeline that I'm working with, then that's just the timeline that I'm going to be on. So I think having those things happen over and over, and then now starting to understand, looking back on those events, like, okay, I notice a pattern in my life right now. Maybe I'm overdoing it a little too much, so I'm going to take a day. And actually, I would take Saturdays. Saturday would be my day off from social media. It would be my day that I would take myself on a date and I would go to the movies.
Excellent.
And I just had kind of like some space to really remove myself from everything that's in my phone. And then open myself up to just kind of like what is around me and like try and make a little bit of a separation.
More present.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
The phone definitely is like this. Obviously, and look, broken record here talking about this again, but it's such a critical, useful tool. Like just GPS alone, the fact like there's so many applications that are awesome. I was trying to hang a picture the other day. I didn't have a level on me.
Oh, the bubble level.
Yeah, I did a bubble level app.
I got one.
Got the bubble
I did
level
that for my fish tank.
Bubble level app,
So
and then all of
good.
a sudden things level.
It works.
You know, so there's all these cool things.
Yeah.
But there's all this fake stuff too, and I'm just gonna dive in slightly on numbers and what I think those mean and kind of what that is, right? And why not focus on numbers? Like why numbers actually really don't matter is because they don't. Like people and creators want to go and create to hit these number thresholds and things like this. You know, does that ever really truly pay out? It depends, you know, on your sponsorships and this and that. But really at the end of the day, and we've said this a bunch of times, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then you're not going to be in for it long term. And like for creators, like you almost have to have like a passion for what you're doing, like this project, in order to continue going forward with it, or else you're going to get burnt out and you're going to want to stop creating. And if you're too focused on the numbers all the time in social media, then you're diving in, you're comparing yourself to other channels, like what are they doing, and then you lose like your own authenticity by paying too much attention to the numbers. So I almost feel like success will come, and everyone has their own definition of success.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's enjoying my time, right? And so like I feel extremely successful, but in other people's eyes, I might not have hit their thresholds of success. So that's kind of like my little rant on being a creator, the numbers that come with it, where you're focusing your energy.
It's a good conversation to have with creators in the room, of course. I mean, we sat across the table from musicians and, you know, TikTokers, YouTubers, you know, you name it. Everyone kind of has their own opinion on it, and it looks different for everybody, of course, and what that journey is. I mean, some people get that, you know, everyone's kind of chasing that quick hit, right? That overnight success, so to speak, especially in the younger community. They see these videos and go, oh, I can just make a ton, you know, just sitting at home and not doing anything and creating content. And that is true. There is a pathway to do that. We've seen it with OnlyFans. We've seen it with a lot of different platforms for people to do that. And that's fair. You know, that's just kind of the world we live in now. And you can use it as a tool as well as a resource. But to echo your point, I think you got to do it because you love it.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's the biggest thing. We can be kind of open. Coming up on episode 250, we didn't really know what Discussion Combustion looked like going forward. You and I were kind of going back and forth a little bit on, we didn't know. We kind of hit a wall. We're like, what are we doing? What's the vision? Should we keep it the same? Should we change it? Should we change the logo? Should we change it up? Should we pull it back? Should we do more? And it's good to have those kind of conversations, at least, you know, between you and I as business partners and doing what we do here on the podcast. And just kind of, it's good to check in. Where am I at? Where am I going? What do I want to keep doing? Right?
Well, then you say that, like, we have each other to lean on. You're going solo.
You're a solo creator, so it's your decision only, of course. So that of course, can add some complications as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting approached from, I'm sure, brand sponsorships and you know, brand ambassadors and stuff that want to partner with you, and that's your decision to make, right? So you got to weigh the pros and cons with all that.
Yeah, it is very interesting because people will often ask me, like, how's business going? And I want to just be like, fucking phenomenal, because I don't really know. Like, I guess it's going well. I also have the definition of success for me. It's like, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I have everything I need. I have a roof over my head. I have people who love me. I have friends. I have freedom of my time for the most part. And I'm doing something that I love to do. I love to dance, and I'm being presented with opportunities that open themselves up to me as I continue to do this. So, like, business is good. But, like, what is it supposed to be like, right? But it's been nice because I do have a really good friend of mine that I grew up with, and he is also an entrepreneur, and he does more artwork. And so what he does is he'll travel, like, across the world and find different animal tracks, and then he'll make molds of these different tracks for different animals, and, like, whether they're extinct, or, like, you know, on the verge of extinction, or just like a rare find. He takes these molds and then makes giant canvas art, and he calls it Walks of Life. And I think he's also, like, in the middle of rebranding too, so it might not be called that forever. Yeah. But he's been really great to lean on because he started his journey with that business maybe 4 years ago, and I could be wrong with that, but a while ago, before me, right? So it's been nice to be able to kind of call him up, and, like, when I LLC'd my business in August of last year, like, he was the one that I called, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. How do I do this? What's the right way to look at my taxes when it comes to having my own business? Just because I'm kind of, like, in this in-between of, I'm not where my friends are who are working 9 to 5s, and then the people who are actually in my industry, or, like, the creators that are crushing it, are so far ahead of me that I don't, like, fit in there yet. So I'm in this weird, like, middle spot where I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, you're, like, in that hair growth phase where, like, a guy goes from, like, or gal too, whoever, and you have short hair and
like, a bowl cut. I'm in a bowl cut phase.
And you want to grow out the long hair. You know, there's, like, that awkward hair phase.
I mean, that's a fair comparison. Right?
Honestly,
the itchy phase.
That checks out.
Yeah. When it comes to a beard, you know.
But it's good. It's good to get uncomfortable. And so talking about getting uncomfortable with something a little more personal to me, I started a new project. It releases Monday. It's
Excited.
called Raw Talk, and it's like a quick 5 to 15 minute long, subject focused, my opinion on whatever it is. And I was so nervous to record this first episode, which I recorded yesterday. And it ended up going a little bit above. It was like 18 minutes because I couldn't fit it all in that quick. But I was like overthinking it for weeks. I obviously have a lot of experience in front of cameras and mics and all this other stuff, and like I've rapped and like done music and all this. But like I was so nervous to come in and just like go loose on this subject of, you know, what my purpose is and how to find your purpose, and how I found my purpose is what I got into. And I was excited and nervous and like anxious all at once.
Good feelings.
And yeah, it was good feelings.
Makes you feel alive.
Once I finished, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like one of those things where it's like, you know, you have to feel a little uncomfortable to like start that real journey that means something. So the fact that you are where you're at and that you've stuck to it since the last time you were on the podcast, it shows that you're resilient, because a lot of people quit after like a couple months.
Good point.
Right? Like a lot of people will go in, I'm going to do this thing, and like 2 weeks, 4 weeks in, they're like, you know, they're like,
Flash in the pan.
Yeah, like they don't do it. And so you stayed in it.
You're hitting the CQC.
Yeah, that's good.
The CQC.
CQC.
This is important.
CQC.
That's what you've been following, Jules.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't even realize it. Consistent, quality content.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
The CQC is a huge piece to success in this industry. A lot of people think they can just step in, like we talked about kind of in the opening. Oh, I can do a podcast. Oh, I could start an Instagram channel doing this, that, and the other. Great, do it. Well, 4 or 5 weeks in, well, it's not doing what I want it to do, so I give up. Well, are you checking the boxes? Are you doing the CQC? Are you doing it for the right reasons? Are you doing it because you love it? Are you doing it because it brings you a sense of fulfillment and joy? If the answer to any of those questions was no, then you're not going to find success, in my opinion. Some people do find, you know, where they say a blind squirrel can find a nut every now and again, but some have to work a little harder for it. And I'd rather work hard for it than have it handed to me personally.
I wonder how many blind squirrels are out there actually running around.
There's got to be
Because
some.
there is.
They're out there. The red squirrels, the gray squirrels. And then I also, another quote I heard was, you know, the sun shines on a dog's asshole every now and again.
I mean,
kind of redneck.
I guess it depends. Like, is this an outdoor dog? Like,
I mean,
you
it
know,
does. It does, though. I mean,
like,
think about it.
Does the owner just let this dog out like during the sunrise?
The point
or
of the
sunset?
analogy is that it's rare.
You know?
That's not the point.
I mean, look, you own a dog. Does
Yeah.
the sun shine on your dog's booty from time to time?
I mean, if we're outside and he like stretches, sure.
Yeah,
it's rare.
So from time to time,
Sure.
Yeah, it's rare.
the saying is
Maybe
true.
I think there's also another one. It's like once in a blue moon.
Uh-huh.
That means
Yeah.
something's rare too.
Blue moons, yeah.
Yes.
But the fact remains, yeah, you know, it's it goes back to what we said. So the CQC, sounds like I'm
Yeah.
saying QVC. We're not trying to sell anything here.
No, consistent quality content. And what
It's
that
crucial.
means is consistent is you're dropping multiple times a week. We
Yes.
do a 1 episode a week cadence at DCPC.
On this show, yeah.
Yeah. So 1 episode a week for Discussion Combustion. The quality is the cameras that we buy, all the, you know, the post editing, all that stuff.
Yep.
And
The studio space.
yeah, that's quality. And
Gotta have
then
it.
the
Beautiful.
content
Thank you.
is having amazing people like you on the couch to give this great content and to be the star of the show. So that's our CQC
Keys to success.
over here.
Yeah.
Mhm. And that looks different for every business, but you could apply the CQC.
You can.
You know, you just come up with your own unique like things for it.
Got to be dedicated. You got to enjoy what you do. You got to start
Yeah.
there, I feel like. Right.
Well, and it shows. You guys have had a lot of great growth, and it seems like you're progressing your brand, like rebranding into something new, which is really exciting as well. But I think, you know, we are human. So I am curious to know what is like your guys' self-talk, like what happens when you do have really low numbers or you have a lull in your viewership. What do you tell yourself in those moments, and like how do you kind of recover from those lows?
I love that this is turning into, you know, some questions back at us, Art. We don't get this all the time, so it's always fun to have the guests fire at us a little bit, because these are good questions, you know. Yeah. For people that have been following us a long time, yeah, we went from 30, 40, 50K a week, you know, on YouTube. You can see our numbers. They've suffered a bit. That's due to, you know, algorithm rebrands and you name it. You know, we've been working with these guys a while. So, yeah, morale can be low, you know, at times if we focus on the numbers, kind of like, you know, you brought up, sometimes the numbers don't necessarily mean it. And, you know, Art and I have to kind of go, man, we're doing it because we love it. We're doing it because if it helps one person,
Yeah.
or one person gets a laugh out of it, or one person gets inspired by it, then we did something. And that's really what matters to me personally.
Well, and look, I've thought about quitting all this multiple times, and that's a good thing. All the most successful people that I've talked to through the podcast, of course, is how I met most of these people, but they all tell stories about how they wanted to quit, how it was getting really tough, and then instead of quitting, they put their heels down and really focused. And that's also kind of like what inspired me to actually do Raw Talk, because I had been sitting on that show for like a year, and then I need that space to do that. So, like, the numbers to me, they play a role in the beginning, but when you're a weathered creator and you're really, like, about this, like, I'm not just going to step in and do it a little bit. Like, you don't really care about the numbers anymore, because it's like what Kev said. Like, sitting here, once I finish recording this, I'm going to be like, man, that was so much fun. I had a great time. After I finish doing Happy Friday America, man, that was so much fun. I had a great time. After, and the story goes on. And that's what I focus on when the numbers get low, when the opportunities aren't there like we would want them to be. Like, we feel like we've earned some opportunities that don't happen. And, like, that's just how it goes. But we still are, like, showing up and having fun with it. And ultimately, like, right now is life, like this moment, and I'm enjoying my time, and it's because of this project. So if it wasn't for this, then this, like, moment wouldn't even exist.
Yeah.
And so it's things like that keep me going. And probably for you, it's like, your physical health, like, helping other people find their physical health. Like, those are the things I would lean back if I was doing your stuff and, like, I hit a lull.
Yeah.
But how about you? Let's turn that question back at you.
When I hit a lull, for some reason, what I think of first is, okay, let's say I posted a reel 3 days ago and it's got like 30,000 views, plays. And I'm like, cool. That one is doing well for my page. And then I posted one yesterday and it might have like 2,000 plays. And I'm like, can't all be winners, And I think about your favorite music artist. Like, every time they drop a song, do you love every single song that artist puts out? Probably not.
That's
do
a good
you
example.
listen to the same 4 songs over and over 400 million times? Probably. And so, one, I think about that, right? Like, they can't all be winners, like, whatever. The second thing is, like you had said, if it makes one person laugh, if it makes one person smile, like, I know when I see my creators that I follow and I'm inspired by, like, I might be the second like on their post or the second save, but I'm like, please don't archive that, even if it's just, 5 of us that like it. Like, I saved it because I want to try it. I want to try the meal that you're making, and I want to try the dance that you're doing, or the weird flippy thing that looks crazy, and I think it's important that when you are putting that stuff out there, it's really not about the numbers, although it like, I do enjoy watching them. Like, it's fun.
Oh, yeah. No, there is a high that comes with the numbers. Like, we can't deny that when you start, you're like, oh, shit.
It's euphoric.
Yeah, like,
oh,
that's
shit.
exciting.
It is.
But at the same time, it's like, I just know I have to, like, put my ego aside, right? Because I'm like, okay, if this one is not getting a lot, like, whatever, Jules, like, it's not the end of the world. You can go out and, like, do something different, and at the end of the day, who cares?
Yeah.
Because, like, when you scroll through your reel page, like, how often are you going to watch something and then think about it the entire day? You're not, right? So I assume that's kind of how people look at my page too. It's like, oh, cool, like a like or a save, or maybe they just scroll past it and, like, who cares, whatever.
The who cares movement. But you're always going to have that one
who
Yahoo.
cares movement.
Yeah.
Or a second Yahoo, or even a third Yahoo that's going to stop by to leave a negative comment. You're always going to have those guys. They're out there. Guys and gals, whatever. They're going to come by and say, you know what? You suck. We don't like what you do. I don't like how you sound. We don't like how you look. The hate's out there. And the hate's always been a motivate. For me personally, I love it because, as Bill Belichick used to say, ignore the noise, do your job. The noise is always going to be there. There's always going to be noise, right? And that's kind of, when you're a creator and you put yourself out there, you're opening yourself up to hate. And especially now more than ever here in 2024, living online, social media, everyone likes to air out their opinion on what other people are doing when they're not doing anything, right? So I don't know if you've experienced that. I know we have on this side. When you're out there and you're creating, you're putting your stuff out there, you're always going to have a couple of yahoos. and that's just part of it. I mean, I feel like you have to accept that, with being as a creator. Joe Rogan would say the same thing, right? Guy gets 12 million views a week. You think everybody's like, Joe's the best? No, people hate Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
it's just part of it,
and that's okay. That's okay, because I don't really consider what they think. It's like
they're making noise.
It's like, okay, that's fine.
Which is good.
Thank you for bringing that here. But one thing I do find extremely considerate is you brought us a box for Discussion Combustion Part 2. And so, like, I'm curious. We've been having such a great conversation. I almost forgot we had this thing over here. I got it on 4.
You got it on 4?
I got it on 4.
Put it on camera 3.
Okay.
I wouldn't tilt it that much.
Okay. It says Discussion Combustion
Here.
Part 2.
Put it in between us.
Okay.
You might need a pocket knife.
A pocket knife?
Yeah, it's not.
Maybe we can slide these.
I mean, you could, yeah.
Maybe we could just hit it with the slide.
I can grab the scissors if we
like
need.
this.
Oh, perfect.
No, we're good at this.
Art.
It's called the slide, and then you could even
Camera forward,
save
you can see
this.
it.
You could save this.
I mean, hopefully it still looks nice inside. If not, I did take a picture before.
Because Kevin's manhandling of it just now?
I mean, also, like, in
Might
the
have dismantled
car.
it.
It could have been in the
Okay.
drive.
Oh, look at that.
Oh. Are these homemade cookies?
Okay, yeah. So they're cookie butter cookies.
Oh, yeah.
Here we
And
got
then I did a blueberry pie cookie because, like, tomorrow's pie day.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
sure, it's
And
Friday.
I bake. And my retirement plan is that I'm going to own a bakery.
That's
That's
tremendous.
fun.
So
I'm going to hold one of these up so people can see.
Yeah, here I'll grab.
I'm going to do it on your camera, so it's going to be on you, and then this little bunny's going to pop up here.
how cute.
So here is the blueberry muffin.
It's a blueberry pie.
Blueberry pie.
And then we got
Mini pie.
this
I don't know. And
delicious
then
piece.
yeah, it's a cookie butter cookie.
Cookie butter. Cookie.
Yum.
So
That's-
hopefully you're not allergic to I didn't put any seafood in there.
No shrimp or lobster in there.
No shrimp.
As
or
long as
salmon,
there's no
lobster.
nut milk, I'm okay.
No nut milk?
Yeah.
No?
No, I'm joking. I'm
No
I
nut
mean,
joking.
because I
juice.
have nut milk, but I didn't use any
I'm
in
messing
there.
around. I'm messing around. No.
There is
No
it
allergies
is
here.
made in a facility that has nut milk in the facility.
That's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. No, it was a joke. It was a joke.
We'll be
Yeah.
okay.
No, these
Jules,
look great.
Thank you for doing
Yeah,
that.
that is so sweet.
And enjoy this a little bit later after I have my supper. They look tremendous.
I'm gonna try one right now.
Oh, he's going in right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna try the blueberry
He's
muffin.
going in right now.
Yeah, I gotta try
dang.
this.
I'll do a
live action.
follow-up video later on our social media of me munching on this.
Yeah, that's fine. I do. Yeah, I would like all the
Look at the inside
criticism
on that.
back.
That looks good. It is good. Delicious.
The yum yum gets you some.
That's delicious. So when you're saying you like cooking and you talk about baking, I understand why. It's fantastic.
Oh, it looks great. Thank you for
Yeah.
bringing us that. That was very
Absolutely.
thoughtful.
Yeah.
For 250, that's tremendous.
Yeah, episode 250. So 5 years we've been doing this. Can we expect to see the Jules and Pearls movement continuing long into the future?
Are you already asking for me to come back?
Oh, you know that you're in the wheelhouse. You're in
Yeah,
the wheelhouse.
heck
You're
yeah.
part of our network. But are you staying driven and pushing on all this? Because you've been staying for the whole year and you're like in it right now,
Yeah.
definitively.
Yes. As far as like being a content creator, like yeah, yes. It's a lot of redirection. So I think I kind of asked where you guys stand like during those lulls and what happens, and I think in those lulls it's a great moment to just kind of say, okay, that's what worked for a little while. Now I have to kind of think of what's next, and that's basically what I've been doing a lot of. So it's been exciting because as great as it is to like have some friends on Instagram and some people that watch my videos, that's not going to pay the bills. I mean, I'll be transparent. Like, I make pennies off of some of my reels. Like, Instagram is not where I make my money. But I think it's amazing because it's free advertisement, you know, and it's fully available for me to use. I got very lucky in finding this kind of like floor work style of dance. And the people that I learn from are mostly in Russia.
Okay.
So they do offer classes online, but not in English. So I was able to create my own online course and teach some of my floor work moves for beginners. And I did that, and I launched it and hosted my first 8-week course January through February. So it kind of just wrapped. That was really exciting. And I'm in the middle of just like creating individual classes that people can buy and take online. And then I actually had a studio reach out to me here in Colorado asking if I would like to teach my floor work at their studio. So I'm now teaching in person, online, and just kind of figuring out what's next. And although I don't know in the grand scheme of like where I'm going, what I'm doing, I trust that like each step that I take, is going to like open up the door to something new. I mean, ideally, I would like to be able to go into more podcasts and like talk about how I was able to build my business, how I was able to kind of like find this and grow this, and and help people who are also in that same journey and doing that same thing. So
that's terrific.
Yeah, no, that's epic.
Yeah, it's definitely motivating for sure. Do you ever do any ballroom dancing? You ever get in that world?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say
I had it offered at my high school. We had ballroom dance, but I never took it because it was after school.
We had some ballroom dancers on our program they own Resolute Ballroom. So I was just saying, thinking about the network and the wheelhouse, how we.
I mean, I do try new things often, so that could be a place that I go try.
That's great though. So you got a studio in Colorado you're working with now. You got your content growing. I mean, this thing is on an upward trajectory. I like it.
Yeah.
Keep riding that way.
Yeah, and just keep at it. And we should be doing things that make us question if we want to continue doing them.
Yes.
Or like, we should be challenging ourselves to like, can we actually like accomplish these things? And the end goal is always important. It's good to have something to work toward. And just another one of these cliches popping out, but like, it's not about the end goal. It's about how you getting there and like really enjoying that experience and trying to be present in that. Because if you think about since you were on last time compared to now, all the things that you've had to overcome that you did, and it's like, okay, I did all that. So we're all too quick to forget our own successes. And it's like, okay, yeah, I accomplished that. Well, what's my next thing? Like, we completely forget how we just completely demolished this other obstacle. And that's free success energy. So that's one area that I always need a reminder too. Like, I have to remind myself of this. If I'm in a lull, then I really got to focus on the fact that I've succeeded in all these other areas already. And that's just free energy sitting there that I could tap into at any moment. So not my advice. I'm just a vessel of information I've heard.
It's funny that you say that, like, it's not your advice, you're just a vessel, because you do often share a lot of very, like, wise words. Where do you get this information? Like, who are you inspired by? What do you listen to? Are you just like born with it? Like maybe it's Maybelline, or maybe it's.
So, no, and thank you. That's a nice compliment. I would like to give credit to my parents for raising me with an open mind and being able to like think about my thoughts. I think that's one of the most important things, is thinking about my own thoughts and being cognizant and trying to be aware of how I am projecting my energy, because everyone brings an energy into a room, right? And everyone has their own, and you can control what energy you bring into a room. And with that, being open-minded and optimistic, I've always been willing to be critical about my own ways of doing things. And getting off of pills and stuff, like, that was a long journey, really long journey, that I learned a lot on that whole path. And I guess it's just staying in this mentality of like, I might not always know the best way to do something. There might be another way to get to the same end goal that I want to get to. There might be more than one way to get to the same finish line. My way isn't always the right way. And, you just want to listen to people. I guess that's one thing that podcasting has really taught me too, is to listen better. And when people are saying something that they're passionate about, you try to apply it to your own life. And I mean, I'm coming up on 37 too, so it's not like I'm like this, immature kid who's selfish anymore. So it's like, okay, I've learned these lessons. Like, I don't know. It's just life as a whole. Like, lessons are always there for all of us. Mm-hmm. You might meet somebody random in like an elevator and like have like a profound, 30-second interaction with this person. And then all of a sudden, like that's how we met. And I was like, hey, well, actually, you have a good energy. You should come on the podcast. And then that's how that started, because I was open to it.
And then I told you you should have my ex instead, because I didn't know what I was doing.
Exactly.
And we did.
And he was great too. Awesome energy, that lad. But
Solid lad.
that's aside the point. It's just about allowing opportunities to come into your life and not pigeonholing yourself.
Yeah, no, I would agree with
But
that.
that's a great compliment. I appreciate that. But I'll thank my parents.
That's really
I'm
sweet.
gonna thank
That's
my
sweet.
parents.
You do have some amazing parents. Shout out to Captain Lee and Luis over there taking care of the bees, and the Prairie Dog Advocate. She does some amazing things, of course. You got some great folks. And, of course, my folks are great supporters of this program as well. We're very fortunate to have great support.
Yes.
I think that goes a long way. But, man, it's kind of almost feels like a little bit reflective as we're at 250 here. It kind of became what we thought it was, like what we planned to do without even planning it, which has been great, kind of reminiscing a bit and talking about success energy and what that looks like and moving forward and how we stay motivated and things. And that's constantly changing. We live in a society now where things are constantly evolving very rapidly.
Yes.
Right? We have new technology coming out. So we talked about TikTok, which is now, what's that going to look like? Right now, the House of Representatives said that they've moved to ban that. Things are changing, right? Facebook is not what it once was. Instagram, what does that look like? What's the next big social media thing that's coming? Like, this is an evolving entertainment universe, I feel like.
It is.
We worked with YouTube now for, what do we have, 4 years on YouTube?
Yeah,
2020.
just about, yeah.
2020 we went onto YouTube right before the pandemic shut us down. That was fun. We spent all this money on this equipment and then shut down for months.
Yep. Yeah, that's how it goes.
But that's the challenges, man. That's just kind of the way this business goes.
So speaking about how things have changed, we are going to ask you the same question that we did on the first time you were on.
Do you remember it?
Do you remember the
Like
question?
the ending question?
Yeah.
Like, what advice would I give to the next person?
Yeah, so we want to ask you that again.
I would say only 20% of our guests remember that
Yes.
question, so kudos to you, Jules.
Kudos.
Because they're always like, what was it again? You remembered.
So,
I mean, I did also just rewatch the podcast not too long
what would
You
what
did
would
more
your
homework than
advice
we
be?
did.
Is it going to stay relatively the same? Has it changed? Like, what's evolved there?
I mean, last time I said take care of yourself and be kind, which I always think is something to keep in your back pocket. And I was thinking about this earlier. My advice: trust your gut, keep your ego in check, and do the self-work that needs to be done. And I think if you kind of take some time to work on those things, then you will naturally become a better person. You are taking care of yourself. And I firmly believe that the better you take care of yourself, the better you'll show up in life, the better you'll show up for your friends, your family, your job. And so it's just something that is going to blossom. And I think that that's what the world needs, right? Like kind, compassionate humans, but don't get walked all over. So
Solid advice. Yeah, because you're right. There's always that opportunity for people to take advantage. You give an inch, they'll take a mile. So you always got to watch your back a little bit. Of course, when you're being kind and offering people opportunities, or even just sitting down with them for a cup of coffee, you always got to be mindful of what's going on. Art, you definitely taught me that as we got into this business. Don't take every opportunity. Consider it with a calculated perspective, for sure. Because there's a lot of snakes slithering.
Yeah. Honestly, like most people, I'm like, fuck these people until I get to know them.
yeah.
But I like where you started that, and that would be to trust your gut, and that's a difficult thing to do.
Intuition.
A lot of times, our intuition is going to tell us the right thing to do, and it's not always going to be the easiest thing to do. And then people will second guess their gut feeling, and then they miss out on opportunities in life because they're over here overthinking what their gut told them to do. And I've been overthinking not having another bite of this because it was so good. I feel like I had a big second bite and it got like stuff on my face.
That's why you got to get in there.
I feel like I cleaned it off, but great advice for humanity. Amazing.
And eat my baked goods when I open my bakery. That's my advice.
Look, even nice notes on there. XOXO Jules. So nice.
The Jules and Pearls bakery items. Looking forward to diving into that.
Yeah.
Delicious sweet treat. Here on the eve of a blizzard in Denver, Colorado.
Yes.
Yeah, what better way to spend a little snowmageddon than with some baked goods?
Let's go.
Yeah.
So where can everybody see what you're doing? Where do you want to plug?
My Instagram is Jules_and_pearls. If you are interested in learning floor work and if you are in Denver, Colorado, you can look up Studio 360, and I teach there one night a week right now on Tuesday nights. Or if you are not in Denver, Colorado, but you do want to learn floor work or just check out anything else that I have to offer, you can go to julesandpearls.com.
Perfect.
That's it.
Sweet. We'll include that in the show notes down below. You know, keep it traditional as we've always done here with our guests. Give them an opportunity to, you know, talk, hang out, have fun. You know, really reflecting here on 250. You know, having Jules on. It's great that this worked out this way. You know, going all the way back, man. We've been doing this 5 years, and you know I love you. And
I love you too, man.
I wouldn't want to do this with anybody else.
Yes.
You know, I don't want to get emotional on this, but you know, it's been a hell of a journey. It's tested us in a lot of ways, and it's just tremendous that we get to continue to do this, and I'm so excited to keep this going.
Hey, man, I'll cheers to that. You could get on this to continued success and creating through adversity.
Absolutely.
And all the noise. Let's go.
Cheers.
Let's keep it moving. Of course, Jules, thank you for coming down and hanging out with us again. Taking time out of your busy schedule. You know, we got a lot of things going on, and so we appreciate you coming down, bringing us some tremendous treats that I can't wait to taste.
Letting me bombard your 250th, like, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to come back for, like, 500, right?
I'd probably be back before then, I would guess.
Okay.
It took us 5 years to do 250.
Another 5 years.
Okay, well, I want another milestone then.
She's like, I want to be on 250, 500,
Give me, like, a
1,000.
repeating number.
That's fair.
333. That episode is mine.
Okay.
333?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so that would be 53 weeks from now, so just over a year.
That's fine.
Wait, no.
A lot can happen in a year.
Terrible math, guys. I'm sorry.
What is it? No, that's like 2 years.
That's 103 weeks from now.
Okay.
No, wait a minute. Forget that. Scratch that.
Just episode 333.
Yeah, whatever that is. Let's see, 250, 53, 83 episodes from now.
Okay, so that's like a year and a half.
Okay.
Somewhere in that range.
That's good. It gives me some time to, like, grow, you know, come back with some substance.
We'll see you on 333.
Well, yeah, and we're gonna stay in touch. We're gonna keep networking, pushing content.
I know you guys are gonna call me after and be like, do you have more of those cookies?
No, those are so good, so delicious.
What's on next
one
week's
of these
menu?
bunny ones had a face and the other one had a bunny butt.
Yeah.
That's kind of cute.
It saw the sun.
That's true.
It's funny how that works. Things come full circle. I'm looking forward to diving into that.
That is too good. So we're going to keep this moving. We'll see you back on episode 333.
Year and a half.
Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to Discussion Combustion, staying with us on this journey. What a journey it's been, and we're going to keep it coming at you next time. So on that note,
oh man, it's time to shut her down. We're gonna get out of here. We got a blizzard in Denver, Colorado, of course. Hopefully it's beautiful wherever you're at, wherever you're tuning in from. Thanks for your continued support. We ain't going anywhere, guys. We'll be back for more fun. Jules, thanks again for being here.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Toodles.
Was that fun?
Yeah.